Hey guys, it's JP here from Metabreakers. We're going to be looking at a painting video about, what colors you have to use when you're painting stuff. So, in this video, we get my cat. Yeah, she's trying to escape. Buns. Look at the camera. She's going to pick us some colors, which turns out to be easier said than done. But really it addresses the sort of thing that you see fairly often where people are like, oh, can you tell me the recipe you use, the exact paints used to paint this model. And this is sort of just to show that, in general, you can use whatever paints you have lying around. You can still get cool effects. It's more about the sort of the way you use them, the highlights and the shadows that you use, more than the exact color. So anyways, let's get into it and I'll explain my thought process as we go. First attempt, she sadly just stepped over the paints. Second attempt, wanted her to knock him off the edge, like she would, if she wasn't being filmed. She just sort of sets up shop and goes to sleep behind them. Third attempt, treat underneath each paint bottle. Get some actual results here. You get blue, purple, white, couple greens, black and red. So to start with, I don't really have a plan or anything, so I'm going to do something you might have seen in a couple of the shorts. I'm just going to sort of paint the whole model in two tones. One on the top, one on the bottom. So green on the top here. And then just the bottom half of the model purple. And I'm not really considering anything except for these are two sort of cool colors I think look good together and to get the inspirational juices flowing. Looks alright to start with, just the vibe going. Then I just pick a sort of bright contrasting color, and here we're going to go for a red that we got. I'm going to do the skin in this color. Slap some blue on the weapon. It's important to realize at the start, you're sort of just putting base coats on things. It has a tendency to look kind of ugly, but you just know that it's a step in the right direction. Here we start highlighting that green a little bit on the armor. Just sort of the tops, where the highlights are eventually going to be. Here we actually see one of the advantages of, using this sort of limited palette of random colors. I just mix the green and the red together. You get this sort of brownie tone that I'm going to use for the leather pants. I use it for the stick as well, and all these wrappings and the bits of bone. Again, you don't need to use a lot of different colors, a lot of different recipes for every different part of the model, Stuff that's roughly sort of brown, you can do roughly sort of a brown color. And mix in a little bit of the green and a little bit of sort of the grayish white color we had, and just start highlighting these. Same thing again, we're just going to sort of work with the shape of the model and the textures to our highlights in terms of getting different definition. Here, mix a little bit of that gray and green, same sort of highlight. Start doing it on the metal line. For the skin, same sort of deal. We mix in a little bit of green, which might seem weird, but it gives you this sort of yellowy color. Again, works as a highlight. And by using the same sort of highlight colors across the model, you do sort of get this uniform painterly feel to what's going on. So then mix in a little bit of white and a little bit more of that green. Again, just to kind of brighter highlight. Use this to highlight the skin. Sort of be able to see in a sec, it does have a little bit of the greenish tinge to it, but again, makes it feel like it's in a uniform light source sort of environment. Now we start darkening down the hilt. This is just some really watered down black on the sort of flat parts of the weapons. Then, yeah, you can sort of definitely see a theme here. We just start mixing in that same green to add some highlights. Again, gives a uniform feel. The underlying color might be different, but the light sources are similar. Here, just add a bit of contrast by putting some of this red, again, onto the hilt. Gives us a contrast between the blade, not the hilt, the blade and the flat part, whatever that's called. Then mix in again, green into our red, give us these sort of orangey looking colors. Even more, get that same yellow we used on the skin, starts sort of looking like rust. Just shows that it's not really the colors, it's sort of the contrast and where they're placed that give them their vibrancy and life. Here, more white in for highlights on the armor. A little bit more white gives us this sort of gray feel. And again, you can see that even though we're using a lot of the same colors, you know, they are distinguished by slight variations and, you know, just the shape of the model. Same thing here. We're going to use sort of some little dots, little scratches to, you know, let texture differentiate rather than color. Here I put some red into the shadows. This is something I do a fair amount. It still registers as green in your brain, but by using a contrasting color in the shadows, the recesses, it just provides a lot of visual interest. You know, it makes the model, you know, breaks up, especially again when you're using a lot of similar colors. Here, I just use a little bit of that purple, mix in with some gray to desaturate it. Just use that to touch up the metal. Again, just trying to cover stuff with different colors. Mix in a little bit of our universal highlight, some more of that brownish mix on the leather. Base. Just start off with some simple mud. Let that dry. And just use our purple, which we used on the whole bottom half of our model. Just sort of dab that all over the base. Add some variations with a little bit of red, a little bit of pinkish highlights. Use our universal highlight color of this green to dry brush our tufts. Stick those on. And there you go.